Review. Isekai Office Worker. The Other Worlds. Books depend on the bean counter. Episode 7. I went on a temporary assignment. Isekai Office Worker Episode 7. I went on a temporary assignment. Sees Kondu's, Kent Itu Mashal, magic and muscles. Life takes some big turns as he continues to manage the accounting department, as preparations are made for the final purification ceremony, and research into getting him and Yua home prepares to begin. The opening half of Isekai Office Worker Episode 7 continues to focus on Indalark, Tomoki Meno Octopath Traveler 0, and Kondu's relationship. Just as before, nothing about this particular dynamic feels good or healthy. When we first join Kondu at the start of the episode, he is out with a subordinate shopping. This feels like a pleasant moment for Kondu, as he gets out of the office for a bit. As it turns out, though, Isekai Office Worker Episode 7 reveals that it was actually set up by Indalark to keep Kondu occupied. While Kondu is distracted, Indalark moves him into a mansion he bought for the two of them. This move is justified to make Kondu's ongoing treatment more efficient. The levels of petulant childishness and obsessive possessiveness that Indalark continues to sink to are just terrible. He has to know how many lines he's crossing. After all, if he really thought he was in the right, wouldn't have gone to the trouble of keeping Kondu occupied. Worsening the matter further in Isekai Office Worker Episode 7 is that everyone around Kondu reacts by turning around and walking away. Even if the protagonist wanted to stand up to Indalark's blatant overstepping, the show makes it abundantly clear that virtually no one around him would dare to offer support. Once settled into his new living space, Kondu's privacy continues to be invaded in Isekai Office Worker Episode 7. We learn that not only does the Holy Knight keep closer watch on Kondu's work now, but Kondu observes that waking up to find Indalark in his bed with him, when he was there before he went to sleep, is a daily occurrence. When the story finally pushes past Indalark's need to dictate every element of Kondu's life, it's through the orders of the Prime Minister, as he assigns Kondu the task of auditing the church. This branch of the kingdom has been remiss in filing its expenditures, so Kondu is being assigned to address the issue. This is the only instance in which Indalark's controlling nature is almost tolerable. Given the overwhelming presence of magicals at a place like a church, his concerns for Kondu's safety feel valid. However, as is generally the case, his presentation of the objections he makes completely removes Kondu from the argument, ignoring the man's wishes. Once Isekai Office Worker Episode 7 sees Kondu arrive at the church, he is treated less than kindly. Some elements of the clergy are not thrilled with a civilian poking around the church's business. Despite his cold reception, however, Kondu pushes forward and does his best to begin his assigned duties. How Kondu's first visit to the church unfolds showcases a refreshing change of pace for the series. While there is open hostility towards him from some quarters, others at the church welcome him. This mixed reception creates an interesting dynamic for the series to explore. It will also hopefully give Kondu another situation he can actively impact. Much like the purification mission, Kondu's trip to the church looks like an obstacle he will positively impact. This could provide a nice contrast to the unrelenting issues of his personal life. Isekai Office Worker Episode 7 sets up some interesting elements, while continuing to wallow in Indalark's need to command every facet of Kondu's life. This overwhelming interpersonal interaction continues to suck all the energy from the show, creating its own miasma from which there seems to be no escape. Isekai Office Worker. The Other Worlds. Books depend on the bean counter. Episode 7 is streaming now on Crunchyroll. TLDR Isekai Office Worker Episode 7 sets up some interesting elements while continuing to wallow in Indalark's need to command every facet of Kondu's life.